All of you, welcome back to the last part of this project. This is where we left in the last video. So we have done with almost the major functionality of our application. Now we have to simply connect those four component and we have to add the functionality of ICO as well. So this is where we left and this is what we're going to start with. So first thing, let's start the application. I'll type npm run dev, and here we have our application is running on localhost 3000. Go close this one and open in your new tab and click here. So everything's working fine. Let me pass my credential and hit unlock, and here we are connected with the application. So it's taking a little bit time. Let me reload the page, and finally we have all of this liquidity we have created previously, so it's working fine. Now we're going to start working with this four component which are left in our project. So we'll start with this app. So let's start with that. Come back here, let's make it side by side so we can see what exactly we are doing here, and this is what we're going to work on it. Let's expand that. So the very first thing we have to do is change this to section, and let's remove this one. Take a div, it will have a class called container. Inside that we'll take a div, it will have a class called row. Inside that we'll take a div, it will have a class called call large 12, and we'll have a medium 12, we have a small 12, and we have extra small, and that is also 12. So these are the grid classes we have. Now inside that we will take a header tag, it will have a class called Crimean model. Then we have heading, we have heading h2, we have the heading, and the last one is heading with decoration. This is the classes we have, and this is nothing new to all of you guys. And inside that we're going to take this div, it will have a class. Let's have this heading subtitle. Inside that we'll take this top 5 cryptocurrency. You can display your text. Now we can come down below, we'll take h2, it will have a class called heading title with normal. Inside that we'll display this statistic of currency on, and we'll take a span. Inside that we'll have this with bold, and we can display all your device. That looks fine, wonderful. Now we can come back here, we'll take a div, it will have a class called heading text. Inside that we'll take this dummy text, but you have to replace with your text. Now we can come back here out of this header tag and we'll take a p, it will have the dummy text. So this is the dummy text. Now we can come back and here we'll take a div, it will have a class called button market wrap margin top 60 pixels. Inside that we'll take a anchor, and we don't need to redirect anywhere. Inside that we're going to display the class, we'll take a button, we'll take button dash dash market, button dash dash apple, and we'll have a button dash dash white dash icon, and button dash dash icon left. So you can see we have the button. Inside that we have to display our icons. So inside that I'll come back here, I'll take a svg file and I'm going to assign the classes. So we'll have this works icon, and we'll have the icon apple. There it is. Inside that we have to take this use, and we have to provide the h, and here we have to provide the id. So this is the icon for the apple icon. So we'll take this icon apple. There it is. Now we'll simply come back here, and I'm going to take a div because we have to display the text. It will have a class called text. Inside that I'm going to take a span, it will have a class, will have a subtitle. In this span we're going to say download on, and we're going to simply replicate this and change this to title and change the text to apple store. We have this beautiful button with the logo and sub text and the main text. Looks good. And all we have to do is to simply replicate this anchor one. We're going to have two buttons, and this one is going to be for Google. So let's come back here, and this is going to be fine, no need to do any changes. All we have to do is to change the icon. So this will be called icon if 59 play, and this is the id we have for the image, like 8737 843782, and we have Looks fine. Now I'm going to simply copy, and that's the same thing I'm going to apply here. There is it. You can see it's changed to Google, and here we're going to simply change the text. So this will be same. It will say Google, will say play. That looks fine. So we got this two button, looks fine. Now we have to display our image. So we can come back, we'll take a div. It will have a column large 6, column medium 12. We'll have a okay. We'll have a column small 12 and a column extra small 12, and we'll have a top 30 pixels. Inside that we'll display our image. So we have the image inside the image folder, and from there we have to get the phone image. Looks fine. Let's have a class called responsive dash with 50. There it is. Looks fine. And that's the entire component we have to build in this particular app. Let's expand on the big screen, and there it is. Looks fine. Okay, there's some problem in our alignment. So this looks fine. There is no problem in this. All the statics is good, but the image is not in proper order. So this is the one which we have to fix, but the rest is fine. So maybe I have given some different name to the classes, and I can see here. So if I come back here I have to assign the classes. So let's take that medium dash padding. It's going to be 120. Then we'll have the responsive align center. That's the first set of class you have to add in the section. Once you're done with that, now here we have to do the change, and the second change you have to do here. So make it 6 and save it and come back here. Now it looks fine. You can see it is perfectly aligned in the proper direction. We have on the left hand side we have this text and the buttons, and on the right hand side we have our image. Now we have to start working on the analytical part. So let's open that in the code editor, close this one, and now we can come back to the analytical. Click here, and here we have it. So let's click on this inspect and like make on the big screen. Now we have to change this to section. Let's have a class called bgd dotted map. Inside that we'll take the div. It will have a class called container. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a row medium dash padding 300. We'll have align center. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called column large 12. We have a medium 12. We have a small 12, and we have a extra small is 12. Inside that we'll take an image, and we have an image inside this dotted image, and that's what we're going to display. You can see that's dot image. It will have a class called primary dot. We'll have a margin bottom 30 pixels. Now we can simply come back here. We'll take a header, and we already built this one. So we'll come back here in the app, and from here we're going to simply copy it. So we're going to simply copy this entire, let's say this section, copy, and that's what we have to paste here. So this is the entire section. All we have to do is to simply replace the text. So these classes are fine, don't need to do any changes here. And let's remove this one. We have this h2, and this is normal. Let's change the text, and we can say life in the digital world. A short description we have. Now we can come back here. We'll take a div. It will have a class called heading dash text. Inside that we'll take a text. We'll say blockchain technology. There it is, and looks fine. Now we can simply cut this one, and we have to keep here. That looks good. So it's going to be our h2 is going to be our title. So this is what we have to do. Looks fine. Now what we can do is we can simply come here, and we'll take a div. It will have a class called counters. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called column large 3. We'll have a medium 6. We'll have a small 12, and we'll have a extra small is 12. Then inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called the branding Kariman model. Then we'll have the second one is the counter items. Inside that we'll take h4. It will have a class called counter dash title. Inside that we'll take a market price. That's the text we have, and we're going to simply take a padding It will have a class, let's call it counter text. Inside that we'll take display this dummy text, and that's what we have here, and it looks good. Now we can simply come here, we'll take a div. It will have a class called counter line, and I'm going to simply replicate this 4 times. So simply copy this one and replicate this 4 times. So 1, 2, this is the 3, and this is the last 4. You can see it's perfectly aligned and it looks beautiful and responsive. Now we have to do a little bit changes. We have to add one more div. So come back to the second one, and here we have to add a. So what we can do, we'll take a div. It will have a class, and this will say counter dash units, counter dash numbers. We'll have a counter. Inside that we're going to take a span. It will have this number 16. We'll come out of the span and we'll take a div. It will have a class, let's call it units, and in that we'll say MB. So this is the simple div you have to add in the second one. Simply copy this one, and this is the one we're going to attach in the fourth one. So we have done with the second one. Now we have to attach not in the third one. So third one will be fine. If you want, you can simply add, but this is not what we have in the design. So this looks good. Now I'm not going to attach here, so like close this one, come back here, and here we have to attach, paste here, and change this to, let's remove one span, let's remove this one, and let's display the plus, because this is what we have. There it is. Now it's perfectly aligned, and that's the only thing we have to do here in this component. So let's expand this one, and here we have it. Nice over effect we are getting this. Pricing section looks good. This is also looks fine. Now we can start in the next component. This image good, this text, and slowly things are coming live, and this looks good. Now we can start with the axis. Let's come back here, close this one, close this one. Now come back to the axis. Let's make it side by side because it's going to be only GSX. We can change this to section. Let's take this section. It will have a class called bg1. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called container. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called row medium padding 120. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called the branding called model. Then the second one we have is the featured blocked. Inside that we'll take this div. It will have a class called image block. Inside that we're going to take the image, and we have to provide the path of the image. So we're going to take this pc.png, beautiful, and it's going to have this alt tag phone. Now we're going to come back here. We'll take a div. It will have a class called text block. Inside that we'll take this header, and we already have this, so we're going to simply come back here, and we're going to simply come and simply copy from here. So like we need this entire header, copy and simply paste here. So we got that one, and the text is fine. All we have to do is to change the texts. So let's remove this to axis, and this will be called analytical market and price data. There it is, and this is fine. Let's remove a little bit text from here. Good. Now that's the only thing we have to do here. I hope you guys can see how things are coming together. Now let's expand this one, and it's beautiful. So we have this image, we have a background image, then there is an image, and on top of that we have the text. Okay, this looks fine. Now we can start with the last component, this ICO cell. So come back here. This looks good. Open this one, close this one, close this one, and we can come back to the ICO cell. Here we are. Let's import a couple of things from React. So use state. Then we have to do the internal import. In this we're going to import our internal component. So it's coming from input. Then we have to receive the props. So these are the props we have. Simply copy and receive and remove this one. So here we have all the props. Now we can come back here. We'll take a use state, and we're going to take a variable called token quantity the user wants to buy. So let's change this to quantity, and by default is going to be nothing. And I can come back here. I'll take a variable called percentage because we have to display our progress bar. So let's do that. So we'll take this template literal and we're going to take the total token cell, and we have the total sold, that how many token. So this token cell prop will contain all the information about the ICO, including the pricing, number of token are left for selling, and how many tokens are sold. So we'll take the number of token which are sold, and I'm going to divide that with the token cell. In that we have the quantity, means the available token for the ICO token cell balance. Once we're going to simply do this multiplication, and I'm going to simply multiply by 100 so I can get the percentage value, and that percentage value I have to pass into my progress bar. So it can be a dynamic one. Let's make it side by side and let's design this one. And I'm getting this particular warning and I know, so simply remove this one and this is fine. Come back here, let's change this to a section. It will have a ID, let's call it token. By, it will have a class called medium. Padding 120, it will have a responsive, align, center. That's what we have here. Now we're going to simply remove this, take a div. It will have a class container. It will have an ID called by books. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called row bg2. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called column large 6, column medium 12. Then we have a small 12, and we have extra small is 12, and it will have a margin bottom 30%, 30 pixels. Inside that we'll come back here and we have to get the header. So simply come back here and we have to simply copy, and that's what we have to provide here. So simply paste here. This is what we have. Now we're going to simply remove few things from here. So first thing, we're going to remove this div, and let's take an image and we'll display this. So we'll display the image of dot. Let's provide a class called responsive dot and margin bottom 30%. Fine. Then we can come back here and let's change this text to hurry to invest, and this will be our cryptocurrency and bold fine. And this text looks good. Let's make it a little short. So this is what we have and looks good. This is the header section we have. Now we can come back here. We'll take a P, we'll have a dummy text. So we have our dummy text, simply copy, and that's what we can replicate here a little big, and this looks good. Let me have a look one more time. So we have this padding and we have this text. Now what we can do, come back here, we'll take a div. It will have a class called the branding model and increment model, and it will have the second class, let's call it counter item, counter dash dash icon dash left. Margin top is going to be 60. Inside that we'll take a CSV icon and it will have a class called whoop icon. Inside that we'll take this use, and we have to provide the href. So it's going to be hashtag icon. There it is, that group icon we have. Now we can come back here, we'll take a div. It will have a counter dash content. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called counter number counter. Inside that we'll take a span. It will have our data. So this native token will contain all the information about our native token which we are selling. So from there I have to get the token supply, total supply. There it is, we have the total supply. Now I can come here and I can display, take a div. It will have a class called unit and we'll display the plus. Somehow the stylings is not applying, so let me have a look, and I can see here that this is I have, and let's provide this S, so it will apply the styling. Looks good. This component is ready. Now we can simply come down, we'll take a h4. It will have a class called counter title. Inside that we'll display the native token symbol. There it is, we have the symbol. Once we have the symbol, now we can simply leave 3 div and come back and work on the right hand section. So we'll take a div. It will have a class and let's call this column large 6, medium 12. We have small large offset. Column large offset will have 0. We'll have column small 12 and column extra small 12. Inside that div, we'll take a div. It will have a class called widget with distribution, and we'll have a countdown background 1. Inside that div, we'll take a h5 and we'll have a text title class called title, and inside that we're going to display our token. So Wooks token for sell, there it is, a black box, and our text is appearing. Now we can come back here. We'll take a div and we'll take this new center. We'll say dash image. It will have a margin top 30 pixels. Inside that we'll take an image. It will have a image path. Will display this no pool dot image. In case you can display your token image, but I'm going with this. It will have a class called responsive with 50. There it is. Now we can come back here. We'll take a input component we have built and let's send the prop. So we have to send the token quantity, the placeholder, and we have to also send the handle click function so we can get the information. So we already taken the state variable, so we'll call it handle click, and we have to simply update this data. So set token quantity to be e.target.value. So when the user will provide that, it will update it in our state variable, and that we can pass into our function. So this is the input. Now we have to work on the button, and let's take a on click, and on the on click we have to simply call the buy token function, and we have to pass the token quantity which user wants to buy. And we can define the classes called button, button dash dash large, button dash dash green, light, and there it is. And we have to display our text buy Wooks token. There it is. So it looks fine. Now we have to display the additional information about the token and the progress bar and the market cap. So we can come back here. We'll take a div. It will have a class called Crimin model. We'll have a skill dash item. We'll have skills dash item dash bordered. Inside that we'll take a div. It will have a class called skills dash item info. Inside that we'll take a span. We'll take a class called skill item info. Inside that we'll display the token sold. So we're going to display that how many tokens are sold so far to the user. Then we can simply, so this will fine, come down here. We'll take another span. It will have a class called skill item count C primary. Inside that we have to display another span. It will have a class called counter. Let's say count animate. Inside that we'll take another count animate, then take another span, and in that we'll have this units, and we'll display the balance. So let's call it balance, and we have to display the balance which user have this particular token, that what is the balance he hold in this particular token. So we have this information here. Okay, you can see it's displaying, but somehow the alignment is not perfect, so I have to see what exactly went wrong. But let's work on the architecture first, build the other components. So let's come back here. We'll take a div. It will have a class called skill dash items. Let's call it skills dash item meter. Inside that we'll take a span. It will have a class called skill dash item meter active. We'll have a bg called primary dash color. Inside that it will have a style, and we have to display the width. So we'll say width, and this width going to be a dynamic one. So remember the percentage we have written above, and that's what we're going to provide here. So we have this one. Looks fine. Now we can come back here. We'll simply do one thing. We'll take a span. It will have a class called add info. Inside that, we'll take a span. Inside that, we'll take another span and we'll have a class called C link color. In that, we'll display this market cap, and we have to display the what is the market cap of our token. So we'll come out of the span and we'll display our text. So let's call this token sell, and we have the price, and all we have to do is to simply multiply with the number of token we have as a balance. So that's going to reflect here. Perfect. Now we can come back here and we'll take another span. It will have a class. Let's call this C link color. Inside that, we'll display this Matty because we are focusing on the Polygon Mumbai. That's why I'm going with Matty. But you can display in which network you are deploying your token. Now we can come back here. We'll take a div. It will have a class called price wrap. Inside that, we'll take a div. It will have a class called token price. Inside that, we'll display this token price, and we can display, take a div. It will have a class called price dash value, and inside that we can display the token sell and the token price. So what is the price? It's reflecting fine. So this is the price of our token. Now we have to display the number of token is listed for sell by the creator of the token. So let's come back here. We'll take a div. It will have a class called token total. Inside that, we'll take this total. We'll display the token symbol, and we'll write this particular text called total symbol name, and let's type this text called like tokens total books tokens, and we can display the token. So we'll take a div. It will have a class called price dash value. Inside that, we can display the token tool listed for ICO sell. There it is. Currently it has 0 and looks fine. So that's all we have to do here. Let's me expand this one and let's make on the big screen. So far things are looking good. So these are the imports we have. Import, and here we have the percentage. Looks fine. And this is the header section. Close this one. This is the paragraph, and this is the third component in the first, and this is the main div. You can simply close this one, and this is the token cell. So this looks fine. No more problem we have here. Looks absolutely great. This is the token price and the token supply. Now if we come back here, if I see things are looking good. Okay, so we have some problem in our progress bar, and our balance is somewhere here. So this is another problem we have. So these are the two fixes we have to do. I have to check my JSX. So come back here in the code, and we have to fix few things. So come back here in the token sold, and here we have to do the changes. So instead of info, we have to say title. So this is the one change you have to do. Now you have to do one more change here. You have to assign the percentage symbol. So make sure percent this one. That's the one thing. And here you have to do one more changes, which I have seen. So this is absolutely fine. Don't need to do anything in here. This looks good. All you have to do is to add a small space in the last class. So add the space, and that will fix the issue. So this is the 3 changes you have to do, and save it and come back here. Now everything's perfectly aligned. So we have the account I have connected with the application is the owner of the token contract. That's why you can see this much fund. But this is weird that why it's 2000 token less. I haven't done any transaction, but it's showing me this less balance. So let me see. If we come back here, this is fine. Let's expand this one, close this one. Don't need to do anything in here. Close this one. Now come back to the hero section. So like close this one, come here, go to the here we have in the index, and this is the function we have built. Like this looks fine. Don't need to do anything in here. Close this one, and here we have this particular function called transfer native token, and this particular function will transfer the token to the ICO contract. So this is what we have done. So this is the ICO contract in which we're going to transfer the token, and we have this 2000 token that's I'm transferring. So let me comment this one, and here you can see these are the contract we have deployed, and here you can see this is the ICO contract where we are transferring the token. Looks fine. And here we are passing 2. I'll change this to 5000 token I want to transfer. This is the one function we're going to call it. Now come back here in the index and simply go to the hero, and we have to simply comment this one and uncomment this particular function, because this is the function will transfer the token to the ICO. Now we have to simply get this And that's what we can simply provide here, and we have to turn off our loader. After it's successfully complete, then we have to simply reload the browser. So come back here. So it's a very easy fix. Simply close this one, and here we have all of the code which we have written for the liquidity history. There is no problem we have here. All you have to do is come back here, and here you have to add this particular class, overflow y. I was stuck for a while, and finally I found that this class was missing. So make sure to add this particular class in the div, and it's all it does, it's make it overflow auto. So if you come back here in the CSS, you can see we are making overflow y is auto, and that's going to make it responsive. So make sure to add this particular class, and it's going to have a responsive on the mobile device as well. So you can do the inspect element, and you can see this looks perfect. Now you can simply slide through that, and you can have a perfect slider where you can see all of things. So this looks fine, no more issue we have. We can simply check in multiple screen sizes, 100% responsive, and we already have a pool. This one is working fine, so we already have a pool. Like, let's create one more, and this one is fine. Now what I'm going to do is, everything is working fine. Let's have a look final time, and here we have an issue, like why is 8,000. And I finally found an issue, that what exactly the problem I have when I was stuck. So I found an issue. So what I'm going to do is, by mistake I provided the previous token address, means a different token address I have provided when I was doing this testing and building the application, and that's the change I have to do. So let's close all of this, and the one change I have to do in my context. So if I show you here, if I show you again here, like we have this. So finally I found the problem, that why we have a less token. And the problem is that I was using a different token address in our function, and due to that it has a less token, and that was, it was reflecting. So I have done the changes. You can see right now we have this entire token supply we have created in my account, and we have nothing here in the token sell contract. So all I have done, I have simply come here. So this is the token address we have deployed together, and this is what we have got when we deploy during the contract development. But here you can see in the Wix token, I am using a different token address, which when I was testing and building this application. So all I have to do is to simply replace the address. So simply copy this one and replace here, and that's the only thing you have to do. Don't need to redeploy the contract, just change the address, and in your case it will display the, like, your token address fund. So there is no problem from your end, it's the problem from my end. Now we have this. Now what I can do is, we have to simply transfer the token one more time, because this time we are using different token, and I'm the owner. So let's simply transfer the token to the ICO, this particular token, and click on confirm, and here the transaction is happening, and just wait. And finally the transaction is completed, and we have a page reload, and here we have the total supply, the 5,000 token we have transferred, and here we have that. So now it's working perfect. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to simply change my account, and I'm going to use different account for buying token. So I'll go to my first account, I'll clear the history, and I'm going to clear the history. Looks fine, and reload the page. I'll simply come back here, and let's try to buy. And I'm going to buy less token, because this transaction I'm doing on the test network and I don't have much fund. So I'll try to buy token, let's say 15 token. So if I click on this buy, it's going to open MetaMask, and here I'm interacting with the ICO contract buy token function, and I'm paying this much money for buying 15 tokens. So let's click on this confirm, and it's going to complete the transaction, and the token would be transferred into my account. So just wait, the transaction is in pending mode. And finally the transaction is completed. If you come back here, you can see I have this 50 token which I have bought, and it's this particular went down to 15, and here we have price, and here we have our progress bar is also got initiated, and we have the total market cap. So all the data is reflecting fine. If I want to buy more, like I can buy 10, and I can click on this buy token, and it's going to open the MetaMask, and this time I'm paying 1. Click on confirm, and it's going to make the transaction, and I will have 10 more tokens, so it will altogether 25. So just wait, soon the transaction will complete, and we'll have the token. And finally the transaction is completed, and it's going to reload the page, and here we have the balance. So right now I have this 25 and 25, the progress, everything's working fine. So things looks good. You can see it's very easy to transfer the token and we are buying the token, looks pretty fine. And here you can see that with this particular account I haven't created any liquidity, so that's why we are not getting any information about the liquidity. But if you want to add, you can add it very easily. This is the 2 fee ratio we have, because this will only reflect to the user who have done any search. It's not a global data, because we are storing this information in the local storage and we are fetching it. So if I go with this particular liquidity, it's not going to work. If I try to create a liquidity, it's going to throw an error because I don't have the TBC token in my account, the account which I am connected right now. It's in the account number 6, but I'm connected with account number 1, so the transaction will fail. So I don't have any fund in both this token, so I cannot make the transaction. If I make, it's going to fail. Okay, looks fine. Now I can show you this. I don't have that token, so the transaction will fail anyway. But if I go back to account number 6, this is 5, sorry, I have to go back to account number 6, and I can simply come back here and let's try to create another liquidity, reload the page, and here we have all the 2 liquidity we have created. Let's create one more, and I'm going to use the same one. So I'll come back to the Uniswap, go to the launch, close this one, and here we have, you can see that here we have this 3 liquidity which we have created earlier. Looks fine. Now I'm going to come here and I'm going to create the 4th one. So I'll select the same pair, I'll give the price, I'll go with very less, and I want to approve 10 token. Let's click on this, and it's going to make a call. First we have to approve, click on approve, and we have to click on this next, approve, then we have to click on this, and now we're going to have the final call, confirm. And now we have successfully created the liquidity. So just wait and let the transaction complete, and finally the transaction is completed, and here you will find the information, the recent which we have created. So today is 12 and you can see the exact date. This is 10 and this is the new one. You can see the transaction just completed. If you come back to the Uniswap, you will find these details here as well. So it looks absolutely perfect. I hope you guys can appreciate that how powerful this tool is, and you have to bring this kind of features if you really want to promote your ERC20 token, because when you will provide facility, user will use your token and they can use it in their development. So this looks pretty fine. Now we are done with this entire application. I hope you guys have understood. Still have any confusion regarding the project and whatever logic we have built, try to analyze, watch one more time, try to understand that what logic we have implemented. So once you understand, it would be very easy to modify as per your requirement. So this is the standard smart contract which you will find in most of the token project which are live right now. This is the exact contract you will find. So looks fine. Now if you want to see the project, so come back to the blockchain coder. Here you will find all the resources which you need to become a blockchain developer, and you can come back to the source code section and you can check all the project we have built on our channel. We have more than 25 projects. So if you are a complete beginner, make sure to start building. The more project you will build, the better idea you will have, and you can build a strong portfolio. So for this project, you can simply filter it, and here you will find this is the project we have built. Click and simply download the starter file and start building and following this tutorial. Or you can come back to this particular course which I have launched. This will teach you every single thing which you have to know about the blockchain development and all the tools which you have to know, including the smart contract development and entire programming language. You're going to build one of the biggest project ever in Web3 space. And these are the crash course we have included on most of the important technology which you have to know as a blockchain developer, which you're going to use it over and over again. So this looks fine. I want you to come and have a look. This is absolutely great, and here you will find all the materials regarding the project. So make sure to check and try to follow the tutorial and build this particular one. So that's the only thing from my end. I hope you guys have liked this project. If you still have any confusion, any doubt, let me know. And if you have any idea regarding the project, so I'll try to build that and explain you all the things which you have to keep in mind for building that kind of project. So with that, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.